And welcome to this segment of One-on-One. I'm Martin Falls, and we have a very special guest in the studio today. When we come back from the break, you're going to see that special guest. And for once, I sort of allowed some props on the table. I won't show you just yet. So when we come back from the break, you'll figure it all out. We have a great guest today. Don't go away. One-on-One is brought to you by the law office of Waits and Downer. And welcome back to One-on-One. As promised, we have a fiddle right here on the table for our One-on-One program, and you figured it out already. Waylon Thibodeaux is our guest today. And Waylon, it's very good to see you again, my friend.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for having me.
I was trying to recollect the first time we met. I want to say it was with Charlie Positeri, Bo S.J., Melvin Benoit Studio on Main Street, where we cut a hole to get into my TV studio so we could use the music. But you were young and just had so much talent and came from a family background of talent. But just for the audience, take us back. What's the earliest years you can remember?
Well, I definitely remember being in the studio over there because that's where I cut my very first record. I had a 45 and I played all the instruments on it except for the Cajun accordion. I had my friend Bruce Degrapont play the accordion. And it was so much fun. I remember driving the van. I was very young, trying to parallel park this big van on Main Street. And at the time, they had lots of cars. Right. And anyway, I knew it was an issue trying to get in there. But I had a wonderful time in that studio. And now it's the tattoo parlor over there on Main Street.
Yeah. and parking was an issue. And just for transparency, Waylon played on one of my songs called Country Funky Hold Down. And boy, what an excellent job he did on that. But how did you get interested in music? Take us through that.
Sure. My mother and father always loved to dance. And so they'd go to every wedding, dance, political rally, fair, festival, you name it, man, they wanted to dance. And so as a kid, I wasn't out to go play football or go play other things with other kids, so I was very interested in the music. So I was watching the drummers play and watching the band, and I was like, man, you could be in a band and you could beat the hell out of something like that and not get in trouble. I like that.
Yeah. But the fiddle is what you got attracted to, but you play other instruments.
Yeah, well, I started on drums. When I was 13, I got in my first band with my friend Bob Lichtenstein and the Bayou Boys. And my very first gig was in Shreveport, and I was playing drums, man. And about a year after that, I got interested in the fiddle. I watched a clip of Pete Fountain and Johnny Gimble play on Austin City Limits. When Johnny was playing the fiddle, it was like the fiddle was talking to me, man. And I told my parents, I said, can y'all get me a fiddle? I want to try that. So they got me a 3/4 size fiddle, and I took a couple of lessons from Mr. Callahan there in Houma. And after that, man, I put it away. I put it in the closet because I was like, I didn't want to learn how to read music. I wanted to play by ear. Yeah. And so I just got disgusted with it. I put it in the closet, and little by little, I pulled it out and I'd make a little sound, and I got inspired again. Yeah. So then I just took to it and started playing and practicing. And before long, my friend Sammy Naka and I started playing together. He was playing the guitar. And so my mama got a picture of me and Sammy when we were just starting out playing in the house. So we got that picture. And then I went to Stone Mountain, Georgia here a couple of weekends ago to play for the Mardi Gras, and we recreated that picture, but 40 years later. We had more hair back then.
Yeah, but you went to Georgia with the fiddle, so you know my next question.
Oh, man.
Did you play The Devil Went Down to Georgia?
I tell everybody, I lived in Georgia for a little while. I lived about 5 years in Georgia, and I was married to the devil, so I don't play that song.
Is this an edit or what? We'll let it.
Bleep.
Yeah. You said you asked your parents for a fiddle. How old were you?
I was 13 years old.
All right.
And I really got inspired for the fiddle and started practicing and got a little better. My friend Bruce Degerpon from New Orleans heard me play at Lagniappe on the Bayou in Chauvin, and he invited me to go do some gigs with him in New Orleans. So I was real excited about that. I was too young to drive, and so we'd take the bus from Houma and ride up all the way to New Orleans. They'd come pick us up, and we'd spend a couple of days over there. And so I started playing with him. I played with Bruce about 4 years, and then I decided it's time for me to do my own thing. So,
But you did so much with the Duesenberries.
oh yeah, absolutely. I had only been playing about a year when the Duesenberry family asked me to go to France with them for 3 weeks, and so I did, man, and I had an awesome time. It was
Now,
a
who
great
asked you? Was it
experience.
Miss Wilma or Mr. Gene?
There was a telethon for the cerebral palsy going on at Village's fire station there, and they saw me play. So the family was like, wow, he'd be a good asset to bring to France. So I think Miss Wilma asked me to go and talked it over with my mother, and I needed to get some money to raise for my ticket, you know. So I asked my grandparents if they could loan me like each of $200-300, and so they did. And my principal at school, Mr. Ed Richard, he was like, Waylon, you need to go on this trip, man. He said, we'll give you all kind of homework and you could do stuff when you're over there. He said, but you got to go. This is a once in a lifetime trip.
And that was good of Mr. Richard, because some principals would not have let you go.
Yeah, that's right.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Mr. Gene Duesenberry, as you know, played for Hank Williams Sr.
Yeah.
His wedding.
That's right. Him and
Wow.
Ben Bruce. That's pretty
Yeah.
awesome. Papa Gene would always say, shake the hand that shook the hand of Hank Williams Sr.
And you recently visited Hank Williams' grave.
Yeah, on my way up to Georgia, we passed through Montgomery, Alabama there, and we had some lunch, and I happened to look on the map, and we were just like 2 minutes from where his grave was at. And so I said, man, y'all got to come see this. This is a once in a lifetime thing, you know. At the grave, he's married to Audrey Williams. Yeah. So they're buried together. And then his mother's buried right next to them as well.
Family plat.
That's right. And Hank Jr. wrote a little note on a plaque that said, you know, this is a sacred place, you know. So it's really nice.
Yeah, we all like to keep believing.
That's right.
The graveyard is a sacred place. When did you know you had it?
When I was 16 years old, I won the Louisiana State Fiddle Championship in the junior division, and I was very proud of that. And one of the prizes was to go perform at the World's Fair for a week. So every day we'd drive from Houma and go perform in New Orleans, you know.
That was 84?
Yeah, that was in 84. I guess I knew I was on a path to something I wanted to do. I can't say that. Even today, I can't say that I have it.
Oh, you have
I
it.
just do it.
Well, I'll tell you, you have it. Yeah, you know, you made a good living too.
I've been very blessed, Martin. Since I got in the first band, you know, at 13, I played music my whole life, and I was able to do it for a living, and God has really blessed me, man. And I did 35 years on Bourbon Street. How about that?
Yeah.
And so I had enough of that just recently and quit worrying about it and put it all in God's hands. And He's been blessing me with more gigs than ever.
You know, you speak of New Orleans, and I know you probably idolize Pete Fountain, but does anybody, or did anybody ever tell you look like Al Hurt?
Man, I've seen pictures of Al Hurt. Maybe I look like him.
You're much slimmer.
I think my beard's a little bit
your
longer.
beard's almost exactly like his used to be.
Oh.
But how much influence were, you know, I know different instruments and all, but music's music, and being a showman
Right.
is something that Pete Fountain knew how to do pretty well.
Absolutely.
You're a great showman.
Oh, thank you.
Where'd you get that from?
Just enjoying it, you know, just enjoying it. And then sometimes you might say something and you get people to laugh.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, well, let me say some more of that.
Yeah.
I love people, you know, love talking to people. Sometimes I'm shy, if you can believe that, you know. meeting new people and going up to people and talking to them. I don't have as much a problem now, but earlier on I was kind of shy, you know, but I enjoyed being around people. I've always been around older people and talking, you know, adult things and stuff.
But you've always surrounded by older people in the bands.
Absolutely.
In the Duesenberries. And I bet your sense of humor went hand in hand with Timmy Duesenberry.
Well, and Papa Gene too.
Well, oh yeah.
Between being in the bands with Ronnie and Bobby Foray and being with the Duesenberries and being around Pot Foss as well, oh my God, you know, you could cut up and be funny and so I was like, yeah, I like that.
Every time Pot Foss came around me, he'd give me a $20 bill.
Yeah, with his face on it.
They're all fake.
Absolutely.
I could never use them, you know? Who are some of the people you met along the way?
I never got a chance to meet Johnny Gimbel. I would have loved to have met him. Unfortunately, he passed away. But I did meet Randy Newman. I performed his song, Louisiana 1927, with him on stage. I was standing right next to him by his piano.
That's pretty cool.
So that was to me, that's an ultimate feather in my cap there, you know.
But you've had a chance to see a lot of places too.
I have. Man, I've been to South and Central America. I performed with Wayne Toops down there. Yeah. We were down there for 6 weeks. I went to France with the Duesenberries, and I also been up to Canada numerous times. Love going to Nova Scotia. Every year I've been going for the last 25 years. So I love it, man. I love going up there. I got friends up there. I call them my second family, you know, the Como family. Yeah. And they're super, super people, man.
So all along the journey, you progressed and you did different things. Who'd you, I hate to use the word copy because you're so unique, but every musician sees somebody that does riffs or does whatever and they go, let me try to imitate that. Who was the one that inspired you the most?
In the first band, my friend Herbert Bro was playing the fiddle, and Herbert idolized Frenchie Burke. Okay, Frenchie Burke played Cajun fiddle from out west there. And so he'd play a little bit of Frenchie Burke stuff and he'd make some little riffs, like he might play Dixie or something, and that was really cool. You know, I kind of idolized that, and that's when I put the fiddle in the closet, I would take that out and try to do the same things that Herbert was doing on the fiddle, you know? Yeah. And that's how I continued to create interest, you know, in the instrument. So after Herbert was Doug Kershaw, you know, Doug was around the thing. You know, of course, you see good fiddle players, you know, Charlie Daniels too, and so you want to play as good as that.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm.
Charlie Daniels, of course. I don't know if it was a curse or what it was when he came out with Devil Went Down to Georgia, because everyone always asked him to play Devil Went Down to Georgia, but he had a lot of other good stuff.
He did, man. He really did. He was a great guitar player, good songwriter, you know. He wrote some wonderful, wonderful tunes.
But screaming, play The Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Man, look, if you have a hit like that, you go play it every night and smile from ear to ear.
It's mailbox money.
That's right.
Go to the mailbox, get your check, and make it happen.
That's it, man. That's it.
We asked you to bring your fiddle.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first song you ever played on a fiddle?
Oh, yeah.
Can you play it for me?
It was the one from that picture. It was called Rolling in My Sweet Baby's Arms.
I'd like to hear it.
All right.
So will the audience.
Let me play it for you. I hadn't sung it in years, man. Well, I'm rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Yeah, I'm rolling in my sweet baby's arms. I'm gonna lay around and shine till the real train comes back. But I'm rolling in my sweet baby's arms. Here comes the fiddle. You ready?
Yeah.
How about that?
You know, I'm sitting here watching you play the fiddle, but I know you get a lot of credit for your vocals too. You got that raspy Cajun vocal. Is that just something that came natural, or did you have to work on that?
That actually came natural. I love to sing with Mama in the car, and Daddy driving the car, and we was singing in the car and just going right on along, you know. And little by little, man, I took to singing really good, and I'm just blessed with a fairly decent voice.
Was it a family affair, the music?
Mama loved to play the music, and Daddy, of course, was a big fan. He listened to the music. He'd whistle along. He never sung, but he would whistle.
He drove, huh?
And he drove, that's right.
So all this is going on. Your first time you got paid, you remember it?
I do. It was in the first band at the state fair in Shreveport. I was so excited. I was 13 years old, and I got paid $100, brother.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, man. After that, I was like, hell yeah, I like this.
Most people still gigging today. That's what you get, $100 a person.
I know.
Because I mean, some bands are so big you can't afford to pay them much more. But
That's right.
$100. What'd you do with it?
Probably saved it because not too long after that, I needed to buy a better drum set than what I had.
Yeah. So in your first song that you ever wrote,
Yeah.
that was yours. What was it?
It was a French tune, and it's called C'est pas comme habitude, which means it's not like it used to be. That was one of the first ones I did.
Can you play it?
Okay.
All right.
Oh, le jour est arrivé, comment ça se parlait, je savais pas qu'on a eu des trucs comme ça. On se croyait on était vieux, on le temps aurait dû, et voir Dieu le repris, et l'emmener dans ses bras.
Wow. Now I might have to ask you to translate it.
Oh,
It sounds great and
Yeah.
it's fluid, but
What does
what
it
were you
mean?
saying?
well, the days when we got together, the day came whenever we separated, and I didn't think that things would be as bad as it was. So it was kind of a heartbreaking song. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
I thought we'd be old together when the time came, and God would have taken you to heaven. So,
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's about it.
Did you always have that sentimental side?
I guess, yeah. We always, my dad would always tune in Cajun music wherever he could find it, because Dudley Bernard had his show down the Via, and I forgot the gentleman in Houma that had the radio station too. But then
Was that Les?
well, yeah,
Les?
that was another thing. Oh, it was Kirby Verrett that I was.
Oh
trying to
yeah,
think of.
okay, yeah. All right.
So anyway, he would tune in the AM station all the way in Beaumont over there. It would come in, and it was more static than anything else, but you could hear some accordion in there. So it was kind of exciting, you know.
Yeah.
And so we'd listen to that. So my ears got tuned to that stuff.
For all of your cases, including those with catastrophic significance, call Waits and Downer Law Firm. This one-on-one program has been brought to you by the law offices of Waits and Downer.